This is Sad Hill Cemetery, northern Spain, about 25 miles south of Burgos. It's the most iconic spaghetti western movie, film setting. It's an artificial graveyard of 5,000 graves. And it's here where in the film you could see Tuco and Eli Wallach in real life running deliriously through all these graves looking for the grave of Arch Stanton. This cemetery was built at the head of a valley in the middle of nowhere, and what fascinates me is how the film company found this location. Then they spent the money to make the film more expensive than ever by recreating this graveyard, and fans from all over the world came to Spain to restore it for its 50th anniversary. And in the YouTube video you can see them all seated in the circle, and Clint Eastwood appears courtesy of video, sending a message that he's very pleased that he's heard the area's been restored and de-weeded, and you've got fans from all over the world. There's a couple down there from Oregon, and there's some Spaniards dressed up as Western characters, complete with a banjo, shooting it out. And what fascinates me is that you've got Spaniards, locals, who've decided to come here 66 years after the film premiered. So this scene is showing you roughly where Eli Wallach fell against this gravestone as Clint Eastwood fired the second cannon from around those trees where the smouldering house of the dying soldier was. And it was filmed here in the summer of 1966, and I'm here mid-spring, which is a little bit cold, sun slightly lower in the sky, and the best time of day to film here is now, about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, when the sun is out of the way, high in the sky to the south-southwest. And now you're looking at a famous scene of movie cinematic history. Now I've included a few people with subtle colours to show you the scale of that circle. Some people might think the circle's quite small compared to what you see in the film, but Leone had used from close quarters a wide-angled lens which separates objects in shot, and you can see where the shootout was at the end of the film, the tree where Tuco was hanging from, and in the distance that's where Clint Eastwood rode off to the right, and then he took his shot with a rifle and spliced the rope with the bullet, saving Eli's life. So where does Eli go from here in the film? He's got his hands tied, rope round his neck, treasure on display, no one around. He could have cut the rope with the spades or shovels, or find someone to free him, and he was then rich, maybe without a horse. He could have buried the treasure for safekeeping, bought a horse with one of the coins, knowing him he would have still stolen it, and everybody ended happily ever after except the bad, Lee Van Cleef, which is on his real gravestone, Best of the Bad. And there's thousands, 5,000s of graves. Most of them have got marked names which you pay for. Queen Elizabeth's been represented, Ennio Morricone, Eli Wallach with the dates of his life, Clint there saying the year he was born. And I'm going to be spending 5 hours here, where most people spend half, because I've wanted to come here for as long as I've known that this place exists. Having courtesy of YouTube, I've watched people make their videos here, so I'm doing nothing new, but I'm hoping that the narration is educational, interesting and informative.